Hello everybody, how are you? In this video I will talking about the topics that we will take or that we will study it in this course, or I mean like a roadmap of our course. First of all, any web page, any normal web page, or especially the modern web page consists consists of three languages. The HTML language, hypertext markup language, it is just for structuring the website or the web page. For example, add the image, add the table, add the sections, header, footer, and so on. And other language is CSS, it is cascading style sheet. This language is for styling the page. For example, add colors, put the element in the specific position, make a shadow, make a background color, and so on. Another very important language is the JavaScript. JavaScript is to functionality or to make the page is more interactive, especially with user can interact with the page. As I mentioned in the previous video, anyone to take this course should be already know the HTML language and CSS language. In this course, I will begin with JavaScript basics and fundamentals of the JavaScript, and we will also explain the GitHub in the practical way. And after that, I will talking about or explain the react.js library. In more detail, in JavaScript, the first thing we will take the basic, as I said before. The basics of JavaScript, it's like basics of any programming language. There's just a few variation or just a few different. The first thing, variables. Any programming language contain variables. In the JavaScript, we can define the variables by using let and const. Also, I will talk about dynamic language because the JavaScript is a type of the dynamic language. There is two type of language, dynamic and static language. JavaScript is a dynamic language. Also, we will talk about the primitive and reference types. Primitive and reference, not just in the JavaScript, but in the most of the programming language. For example, a primitive data type like string, number, boolean, undefined, null, and so on. And the JavaScript just this. In the other programming language, there is another type, another primitive value or type. The reference type also such as object, array, function, and so on. Also, we'll talk about object, how we can make object, how we can using object, and array, function, a raw function. Array and function exist in all the programming language. And object also exist in the many programming language, especially that programming language that support or using the object-oriented programming. Also, a raw function. This is a new way to define a function in JavaScript. This is just launched with the ES6 version. Also, the statement like if and the switch statement. Any programming language have this statement, if and the switch. The for and for each. For and for each also exist, especially for and loop and while exist in all of programming language. Also, for each exist in the JavaScript and PHP and many programming language. Map and filter function exist in the many programming language, especially functional programming language. The basics of JavaScript or fundamentals of JavaScript is important for anyone want to learn a programming language, not just JavaScript, not just web development. Maybe he want to learn any other programming language, but the basics of JavaScript is important for anyone want to learn a programming language because it is the same. All the basics of any programming language is the same other. If you master the basics of JavaScript, you can easily learn the other programming language basics. After we complete the JavaScript basics and fundamentals, we will just shifting to another level. It is just an advanced JavaScript. For example, we will take the object-oriented JavaScript. Object-oriented also was not supported by previous edition in JavaScript or version, just supported in the ES6 and the above. And also asynchronous programming. In the many programming language or most of programming language support the multi-threading. In JavaScript, support does not support the multi-threading, so it is using the another thing. It is asynchronous programming using async and await and the promises, and we will talk about it in the next videos in this course during this course. After that, we will talk about or we will explain the how can using JavaScript to manipulate the page, the web page, how you can make interaction between your JavaScript and HTML. It is DOM, document object model, because the document object model is HTML, the structure of the web page, but JavaScript can manipulate this every element in the page. After we end from JavaScript and done with JavaScript, after that we will shifting to the react.js. We will talk about JSX, JavaScript extension. Also, we'll talk about the state management, state, the props, and there is a many thing in the React.js. I hope this course will be useful for you. This is the roadmap of our course. We will begin with the fundamental of JavaScript. I will explain also the GitHub. After that, we will talking about advanced JavaScript and using document object model, how to manipulate DOM in the JavaScript using JavaScript. And after that, we will explain the React.js library in depth way. Thank you very much.